Hi, this is the final presentation by Amy Frechette. I have chosen 5 stories that we have read throughout the course to give you a summary on. The first of which is the Epic of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh was three-quarters god, which made him superior to his human subjects. In everything he did, he exceeded all expectations. He had no equal until the gods created Enkidu. The Epic of Gilgamesh is a love story between Gilgamesh and Enkidu. Enkidu was the equal to Gilgamesh in every way except for his mortality. Eventually, Enkidu would die and leave Gilgamesh all alone. He couldn't deal with that, so he went in search for immortality, which he did eventually find, but lost through a series of fortunate events. Even with the homosexual nature of this story, it is a love story like any other. Finding your other half, loving them with your whole self, facing life without them, and the hope of finding a way to keep them with you for eternity are all themes of this story. How people viewed their gods and the trials they put them through amazed me, as did the gender gap of that time. The next story that I chose was the Odyssey. The Odyssey is the story of the homecoming of Odysseus, a Trojan war hero, and the obstacles, perils, and temptations he had to overcome in order to get home. When Odysseus killed the Cyclops, he incurred the wrath of Poseidon. The god threw temptation and danger at him in every corner of this journey, but he remained true to his wife, his morals, and his true path, which would be getting back home. The Odyssey was also a love story. The love between Penelope and Odysseus was something that I admire and strive to get for myself. This is a story that I read many years ago in high school. It was not a story I would have reread without this course, and without rereading it, I would have never realized how much life experiences could change your interpretations of a story. At this point in my life, I believe that the main idea behind it is life is an odyssey, and you will persevere over any obstacle by being true to yourself and true to your beliefs. The next story that I chose was the Gita. The Gita is about a man. Please bear with me, I have very hard time pronunciating these names. The Gita was about a man named Arjuna and an incognito god named Krishna. Arjuna and his brothers ruled the kingdom and lost it to their cousins in a game. They were exiled for several years, and after their sentence was up, they came home to reclaim their thrones. The cousins didn't want to give up ruling, and war ensued. Krishna came to Arjuna to help him find morals and teach him the difference between right and wrong. He taught Arjuna that no matter the outcome of the war, he would win either way, by either gaining what he desired on earth or by dying and ascending to the kingdom of heaven. This isn't too far from our own Christian beliefs. The Gita is said to have influenced Hindu morals and values. I believe that the ultimate question of the Gita is, does the ends justify the means? I think that is a question that every person has to ask themselves. I also think that there are parallels between Krishna and Jesus. They both came to earth to teach their chosen people the right path to redemption. The next story that I chose was 100 Years of Solitude. Arthur C. Clarke said, "Magic's just a science that we don't understand yet." I believe this quote fits perfectly with 100 Years of Solitude. In the excerpt, a gypsy traveled around selling magnets. What better way to describe a magnet and its unknown properties than magic? Since he was a gypsy, nobody took the magnets as anything other than magic, and the gypsy's word was just untruth. Jose was a poor and desperate fellow wanting to make a better life for himself and his family. He basically sold everything his family had, except for their house, to the gypsy in order to obtain the magnet. After the gypsy told him that they would not work on gold, even after the gypsy told him that they would not work on gold, Jose drug the magnets all over and even dug into riverbeds with them. Yet the only thing he had to show was a suit of rusted armor. The armor did contain the mummified bodies with a copper locket which held a woman's hair. When I read the excerpt of this story, it piqued my interest, and I have been looking around to find the story in its entirety because I want to know what happened next. The last story that I chose was Things Fall Apart. And again, please bear with me because I have a very hard time with the names of these stories. Oka- Okinawa's quest to prove himself is very relevant today. Being born to a father who was poor, a drunk, and a failure, Okinawa goes through his life trying to prove himself better than the life that he was born to. Even after becoming a very important person in his clan, a husband, a father, and a productive member of society, he was not satisfied. No matter what he achieved, he was not happy for long. He worked so hard to overcome his poor upbringing that he seemed to make some of the same mistakes as his predecessors. I believe the story is talking about all of us and our struggle with always wanting more. I know in my life, no matter how much money I make, it is not enough. The more I work, the more I make. The more I make, the more bills I have. The more bills I have, the more I need to work. It's an endless, continuous circle.